1, this is our lesson on probability. We're going to talk about events and models. When you start talking about probability in your lessons, you need to know the overall general formula for probability, and then you'll get into specifics. So when you start thinking about probability, just remember that you're going to get a probability based on your desired outcomes divided by all possible outcomes. So just remember that. That's the overall general formula. And when you hear the term sample space, that's referring to all possible outcomes that could happen. That's your sample space. So we're going to jump in with an example to show you how to work this formula. So we're going to consider a box of marbles. This is a box of marbles here with 2 red marbles, 1 purple, and 1 green. And we're going to find the probability of choosing a purple marble out of this box if we're only selecting 1. So remember the formula that we talked about. It's going to come from the probability of selecting this purple is how many ways can we select a purple divided by how many marbles are in our box total. So we can see that we have 1 purple marble. So our probability is 1 chance, since there's only 1, divided by 4 marbles total. So 1/4. Simple as that. And sometimes you'll see probabilities written as fractions, sometimes decimal, sometimes percent. So that would be equal to 0.25. Alright. What would be the chances that we would not draw a purple marble from this same box? Let's look at this same box of marbles. The original event was selecting a purple marble. And I'm going to introduce another term to you here. It's a good time. The complement to an event is the opposite of that event happening. So the complement to our event earlier would be not choosing a purple marble. So we're going to find that too. What would be the probability of us not choosing a purple marble? Well, we can see that we have 3 that are not purple in our box of marbles. So 3 out of, remember, total goes on the bottom, 4 marbles. Gives us a 0.75 probability for that happening. And just to check yourself, remember that the event plus the complement is always going to add up to 1. So make sure that that's true once you're working through these problems. And that's because 1 translates to 100%, meaning we have a 100% chance when we draw a marble out of this box that we will draw a purple or we will not draw a purple. 100% chance. One of those 2 things is going to happen. Alright, so we're going to make a probability model for this situation that we just looked at. And to do that, you're going to just create a table, sort of like you see here, and you're going to put your outcomes in one of the rows and your probabilities for each of those outcomes underneath the outcomes. So we have 3 outcomes. We have red marbles, and I'll just use the first letter. For red, we have green, and we have purple. That's all of our choices. And then, so we need to calculate the probabilities for each of these to insert in this table. Red, we have 2. So 2 out of 4. You can write it as a fraction or a decimal. Gives me 0.5. Greens, we have 1. Same as the purple that we looked at earlier. And I'm going to kind of try to slide this right in underneath there. And then purple, remember we had 1 out of 4. And that gives us 0.25. So you can just write one of these ways in your table, either the fractions or the decimals. Alright, so let's talk about uniform probability. Now that we've seen a table, if all your outcomes in the model are equal, then you have uniform probability. Non-uniform is when all the outcomes in the model are not equal. So think about the table that we just filled in. If all of these had been an equally likely chance, likeliness of happening, then that would have been a uniform model, but we don't have that. So we have non-uniform. Alright, and that concludes our lesson on probability, events, and models.